So I think what we want to do is open it up for some questions. And I did have one question of, and we'll see, Janice, if you can get in while we're doing this. You might want to hang up and try again. So we did have a question for you, Richard. If you're muted, you might come back on. See if I can find that question. Dawn had a question about your corn roaster. And she asked if you sell the fresh corn first and then roast it. She wondered because there are some health regulations in selling the cooked corn.
You know, good question. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
You know, we sell our fresh corn as fresh, and it's like anywhere between $4 to $6 a dozen depending on the season. The roasted corn, we have a health department permit. The front of the roaster actually has a triple sink with its own water source and everything, and a hot water heater. So it's a self-contained food vendor unit. We actually roast the corn for about 15 minutes at about 600 degrees. We'll husk it, put a skewer in it. We'll put our special sauce on it with the Mexican dried sweet cheese and some chili lime powder.
That sounds good.
I hope that helps. One other quick thing I neglected to just talk about real quick, and not to just take away, but real quick wise, is we have our own CSA that we've had here at the farm called Farm Fresh to You. And a year ago, we partnered up with a dairy that does home delivery, and we trialed that with 100 of their customers. So that's been a good thing for us, and this year it's opened up to 250 of these customers, which is about 10%. So we actually take a box of produce to their facilities that they'll deliver with their home delivery the next morning.
That's great. I'm trying to help Janice still, sorry. Okay. She might still come back on. Any other questions? Not that I'm not, you can type them in for any of the speakers. And
I just comment on the presentation after mine there.
Sure.
For the employees, and it's something, and I appreciate the process that she went through there to talk about, you know, the workman's comp and the payroll taxes and the insurance. Something you might want to look into would be a temporary service that would allow you to hire the people you want and then let them process the paperwork. It minimizes your exposure, your risk, and it's a straightforward cost because it like for us, if we're paying people about $7.50 an hour, it costs us ultimately about $10, but we don't have any liability whatsoever.
Wow, that's really interesting. Are those just seasonal workers, or are those full time?
It's seasonal workers, and you could do full-time people if you wanted, but you just find a temporary employment agency. Ours is called BBSI, and they do their own paperwork. They actually do a drug screening, so they have to pass a drug test, which I'm all in favor of. But they let us find the people. Kind of hire them ourselves because we know what we're looking for more so than they do. And then from that standpoint, we go ahead and we just run a payroll report each week, send it to that facility. And the other nice thing, on a cash flow basis, they bill us every 30 days. So it gives us 30 days to handle our cash flow, so it works pretty good that way.
Yeah. Oh, I think so.
And that way, the other nice thing is if you've got something that doesn't work out, you just tell the agency, hey, we're done with them, and they kind of just tell them, hey, you know, you don't work there anymore. So it might be heartless, but it's an easier way to do it.
That's good. Janice, is that you? Nope, she's still not on. So I've got another question from Claire. Hi, Claire. You ask, what have you found in terms of production cost? Oh, this is for Richard or Amanda. What have you found in terms of production costs decreasing as you increase your size of production? Is there an amount where it levels off? Richard, do you want to start with that?
You know, that's a good question. Um, it all comes down to the economy of scale of how much you mechanize everything. And I put that picture of that 6-row seeder for that very simple reason. As we grew the farm, we needed more carrots, and plus like the leafy greens, kale, lettuce, spinach. That unit there allows us to, grow several acres of produce because the efficiency in planting, and then also in harvesting with some other tools there. So, it's just best to talk to people that do this and research on the web, and you'll find answers to things. There comes a point in time where, for us, if we were to get any bigger, we would have to get more of an air planter to pull behind the tractor.
How many acres do you have of, some of your main crops like corn, potatoes, beans, the ones that you have large equipment for? Yeah.
The corn, it's about 13 to 14 acres. The remaining 6 acres will be divided up against the leafy greens, the peas, the beans, the potatoes, cucumbers, pickling cucumbers, things of that nature. So it varies between, I would say, about 1/4 of an acre for the smallest stuff up to 1/2 an acre or so on the larger stuff. And then the corn is obviously the big thing. It's 13 or so acres.
Okay. I do have another question. Amanda asks, do you have to have a bathroom for your employees separate from your house?
We do. We have 2 porta potty field stations, and they're pretty mobile, so we put them on a trailer. And, you can look at just going down to your hardware store and buying you a simple 5-gallon container with a spigot. Even like these little plastic square feed bowls or troughs you can use at the hardware store. Drill a hole, put a deal in there so it catches the wastewater into another bucket below that's enclosed, and you can do those things. And I actually went and bought my own porta potties. There was a guy selling them on a classified ad, and I picked them up for $250 a piece. And the local sanitation place comes out every week, and my price is less than half of what it was if I was to rent one.
Wow. So I'll just ask you one more, and then I'm still trying to help Janice get into. Let's see. No, I've got another question here. Amanda, can you get back on? Claire asked, what was the cost of your commercial kitchen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have the exact number in front of me. It was, and just the kitchen, not including, we started out with the garage. There was already a couple of walls were framed because it was part of the garage, and there was a sink in there, so that could be used as our hand washing sink. But I think total it was above $10,000 for putting in the plumbing and the electric, and my husband has a big background in all sorts of construction, so he actually did a lot of the work himself. But with the materials and then the electric and the plumbing costs, it was, I think, above $15,000. But that number may be including the batch maker that we got, which was over $3,000, and then the stainless steel tables and stuff like that. We actually are still got a loan from my parents for that, so we didn't have to go through the bank or anything to get that loan. And we still owe my parents for that. We still need to pay them back.
Okay.